Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. It's part of Bracket Builder Week. And from the Joyce Center, South Bend, Indiana, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. 21-7 Pittsburgh shooting for their 10th ACC win, facing former Big East foe Notre Dame. The Irish have actually beat Pittsburgh 5 straight times. The ACC may be decided today at 4 o'clock in Charlottesville. First place Virginia hosting second place Syracuse. And of course North Carolina couldn't be any hotter right now. The Tar Heels facing Virginia Tech at 2:30. Hi everybody, welcome to South Bend. Great to have you along. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner is Doris Burke. And Doris, how big is this game today for the Pitt Panthers?
Well, I think their next 3 are big. 21 wins, no bubble talk whatsoever. But of their 7 losses, they've come against quality opponents. The one thing you'd say is no signature wins, so they need to perform well down the stretch.
Give us a look at your one-on-one this afternoon.
Well, you've got 2 guys who are with a high level of responsibility. Without Jaron Grant, the play of Pat Connaughton, both on the glass and as a scorer, has been important. This is a guy who's a dangerous three-point shooter. Notre Dame has simplified their offense. More predictable patterns means better shots for Pat Connaughton. And the other side, Lamar Patterson, one of the most versatile players in the country. He gets inside multiple defenders, doesn't speed them up, finds guys. He's a capable scorer and distributor.
Let's give you a look at the starting lineups now for Pitt. Patterson has been a cold shooter lately because of a bad thumb, so Pitt could use a real pick-me-up today from a Cameron Wright or a Talib Zanna. For Notre Dame, Atkins runs the point, does it very, very well. Garrick Sherman is 6'11" and really shooting the ball well lately. Pat Connaughton can be very good beyond the three-point line. He's averaging 13 points a game. Here's what is at stake this afternoon now for Pittsburgh, as you mentioned. Stay off the bubble, heading for the NCAA tournament. Notre Dame is not, but Mike Brey is on the bubble himself for a 400th career win, and 300 of those here at Notre Dame. And we are set for the opening tip. The Irish have had a tough year at 15-14. Pitt coming in at 21-7. They have fallen out of the top 25. But a big one here today at South Bend. And Mikey's going to set everybody again here for the opening tip.
Look like Talib Zanna's ready to go.
Just can't wait. We're underway. Pitt wins it as we get started here at the Joyce Center.
The Irish open man-to-man, but they have done a nice job switching defenses of late. You'll see some zone out of the Irish against Pittsburgh. And as you said, it's been a struggle offensively for Pitt over the last 8 games. In particular, Lamar Patterson. How does he start?
As it now, jumping into the lane, contact, flips it up, and he'll go to the line immediately to shoot 2. Mike Brey, the head coach for Notre Dame. Tough season for him, but with Wednesday's victory over Georgia Tech, he's won 300 here at Notre Dame, the 3rd head coach to do that.
Says all the time he's never very far removed from the high school teacher and coach that he was during his formative years, and very familiar with the ACC because of his time as an assistant under Mike Krzyzewski at Duke.
2 for Patterson. You mentioned cold shooting for him. Last 7 or 8 games, around 33%. But he is no longer wearing that wrap on the thumb. He's taken that off. Connaughton outside into the corner for Atkins, who gets 14 a game, and he's an outstanding passer. Sherman out of the double team. Zanna giving chase to him. He's trapped now, trying to get out of the corner. Flips it up for Vasturia. He's open to shoot and can't drain it.
I think you can tell right away. Pittsburgh has some concern about Garrick Sherman, so on the touch and the catch in the post, they'll go double.
2 former Big East rivals squaring off in the ACC for the first time this season. Young trying to make a quick step. He's battling a back problem. Gives it away quickly. Atkins will back that out. Finds Sherman in the lane, and he nearly lost it. That'll go for 2. He's coming off 21 against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and the difference between him and when he came a year ago and started to play for the Irish is confidence level. You know, all of a sudden, because Grant is out of the lineup, you're missing scores, and as you said, somebody's got to pick up some of that slack. So it's Sherman and Connaughton.
Jump shot on the way by Wright, knocks it down. Maybe a key man today. Had a good day against Boston College in their last game with 14.
I like him. You know, he's sneaky, can get inside, smart about where he makes his cuts, finds his opportunities.
Connaughton, a good shooter, particularly when he's that open, and he drills a three.
I don't think you ever have to wonder about the Irish and their ability to score it under Mike Brey. And if you're a solid offensive player, Mike Brey's going to put you in position to take advantage of your skills.
Pittsburgh, of course, has been involved in maybe more close games than anybody in the country. Several heartbreakers. That's been well documented. Here's Robinson with a long one, and Short with a three.
Those are the kinds of opportunities Patterson gets you with his passing ability. Just efficient use of the dribble, collapse the defenders, and get a nice opportunity for Robinson.
Astoria straight on. Got a good look, but off the back iron. Wright won't shoot it. Connaughton on him. Patterson for Robinson. Here's Young with a jumper. And off target there, but Zana corrals the rebound. Got it back for a second effort, but stripped from him.
Good patience. So Pittsburgh does a really good job with their zone offenses.
Atkins with some fancy dribbling and knocks down the fall away.
Woo, that was nice looking. Nothing like having the ball on the string because it puts you in position to score. That was well done.
He knows how to handle it. In fact, he hasn't turned it over in the last 3 games. Very steady. Here's Wright. Patterson tips the rebound. It's free. Connaughton, nice tiptoe there to get free of Zana. How about the behind the back pass back for Atkins? Into the lane, he'll drive it. The breaks and 2.
Oh, the senior honored moments before the game, looking aggressive and has Jamie Dixon concerned.
Eric Atkins getting the Irish fired up here. It's a 7-0 run. Patterson up top. Comes in averaging 17.
The Irish in that zone. So where does Pittsburgh choose to attack it? Generally speaking, Dave O'Brien, they want a post touch, a paint area touch before a perimeter jumper.
Patterson will drive it now. Connaughton on his hip. Nice give for Wright and 2.
Again, it's Lamar Patterson's ability to handle the basketball, something he worked so diligently on. His playmaking ability to create opportunities for the guys around him.
He's a real savvy there. The senior out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Astoria, just a freshman. Connaughton, an outstanding pitcher on the Notre Dame baseball team, but turns it over there.
There's some thought that he'll be drafted. We've got to talk about that on the other side of the break. Too good a story to get into here.
Right, giving off Zana. A little bit of contact there, can't convert it. Atkins always looking up. Connaughton way downtown for 3.
And this is your concern if you're Jamie Dixon. We talked to him moments before the game, and he was talking about Mike Brey's team and their ability to make a lot of threes. Connaughton's got range. Astoria can shoot it. Multiple guys in those gold jerseys.
10-2 run for them, nearly a theft. There's a big factor here today, I think, working in Notre Dame's favor. They've got nothing to lose.
Correct, exactly right.
And there's so much more on the line for the Pitt Panthers, who have dropped 3 of their last 4. So they have been sliding a bit. Although they righted the ship this week somewhat. Wright trying to drive it. Knight denies him. Patterson, a great fake. But the jumper's not there. And the Irish to run a bit. Atkins. And a wild pass. A rare turnover for him. That's his first turnover in the last 4 games. But Notre Dame likes what they see so far on top 12-6.
Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5-Hour Energy. And in part by Audi. Truth in engineering.
Timer, 40-footer for Ennis. For They got it! They got it! Perfection in Pittsburgh! The Arsenal on the peak! It's good, and we're going to 24-0. Hello, Tyler Ripton.
But a great win for Syracuse. A difficult loss, to put it mildly, for the Pitt Panthers. And over the last 8 game scores, 3 and 5, 2 of the wins have come in overtime. That's how close these games have been. And look at how the scoring is dipped.
Well, and this is why we said at stake today is avoiding bubble talk. You think at 21 wins, you're comfortably in the NCAA tournament, but I go back to where is the signature win? Heartbreaking losses against quality competition, and sometimes it's about when you play teams, okay? So it's been a rough stretch in terms of the losses, the heartbreaking losses. You played a Florida State team at home that was desperate to sort of try to get their sea legs underneath them and get back in the NCAA tournament picture. They're amongst the last 4 out. It's where you play them, who you play them, and when you play them.
Well, indeed, Newkirk out high with shot clock down to 5. Patterson way out there and too strong.
Now, that's not ideal. We have seen in multiple games that Lamar Patterson's range extends to that distance, but I don't think you want to live on that. And just keep in mind, just a point about Pittsburgh and the number of losses over the last several games. Of course, they got right back on track with the win at BC last game out. But I say this to you. The NCAA committee does not use that last 10-game marker we used to emphasize so heavily. It's not something that they talk about because they feel like you can weight your schedule either at the beginning or the end, so they don't look at that anymore.
Wright hitting the deck and draws a foul on the play with 13:11 to go. That'll go against Eric Atkins here in the first half at South Bend. That'll be his first personal. Now, Jamie Wright is quick to also point out, yes, there have been heartbreaking losses, but they've also won their share of those close games too. And when you're looking at how they might perform in the NCAA tournament, might that really help them?
Well, I think experience in those moments certainly does help. And you think about the first weekend in that tournament, and inevitably they're possession ball games.
Right.
So the more experience you have going over end game situations of being comfortable and confident, but you got to win some of those to feel confident.
Jonathan swinging here for Austin Burgett, the big sophomore who's come back from a scary heart problem and stolen away here by Newkirk. At the foul line waiting for his teammates. The swing here and the jump shot won't drop for Jones. He'll get a second effort though at midcourt save. Nice job by Newkirk.
Pittsburgh basically playing 2 point guards with Robinson and Newkirk on the floor. Good bounce pass. Nicely done, Newkirk.
Talib Zana knocks that down. 6'9" senior from Nigeria with the bucket. So Pitt starting to bounce back a little bit. 12-8 Notre Dame.
Yeah, Pitt's third offensive rebound. One of the things the Irish staff was concerned about was the defensive backboards, not giving Pitt multiple opportunities.
Connaughton off to a hot start, trying to get out of that trap, and manages to do it. That means there'll be somebody open. Burgett will drive it, had to adjust, and draws the foul. So he'll be at the line for pair.
Well, Lamar Patterson goes out. Newkirk comes in, so you're playing 2 point guards. They swing the basketball, soft bounce pass, and Zana so vastly improved that nice touch from the mid-range.
Saturday showcase, Notre Dame on top of Pitt. Mike Brey going for his 400th win today. We go all access with the Notre Dame head coach in practice.
Come on, Bird. Good. Get up, VJ. Good. Trace. Good. Attack it. Good. Good. We're starting to learn some good stuff. This has been really good to us. We're getting to look and see some different things off of this. Anchor us, Sherm. Anchor us. Way to talk, Zach. Well, really good, you two. Let's get a shot up. We got, let's go mass at 5:45. 1, 2, 3. Good work.
Talking about a guy who had to completely reshape his team when you think about it. Jaron Grant, so much of what they came into the season expecting to do was to play off Jaron Grant. I mean, that's a guy whose numbers were magnificent. 19 points. He had 74 assists in just 12 games. So much of what they were doing offensively predicated on Grant's ability.
So he lost his best scorer.
Yeah.
And one of the best scorers, frankly, in the country, and his best passer.
So you reshape your team starting in December, late December, early January. And you're playing, 3 different freshmen have started games for Mike Brey. So why the difficulty? It's pretty evident.
Mike Brey would be a lot of fun to play for. Your college basketball play, particularly if you can score.
No question about it. He's going to highlight your ability to either shoot the ball or to drive it.
Pitt being very patient here, but the shot clock is down to 7. Artis got it up there, but can't connect.
But Pittsburgh, we talked about their offensive struggles. They were 25% shooting coming out of the break, and that miss makes them worse.
Jackson gives it up here for Connaughton. Junior out of Arlington, Massachusetts. Jackson from the corner and swishes that down. He's 43% beyond that line.
And that's one of those freshmen that have started. Didn't start today, obviously.
Pitt has not hit a 3. Notre Dame's already made 3 of 5. Back out for Patterson.
And no disrespect to the Irish, but this Pittsburgh shooting percentage against a team that is in the bottom of all of the defensive metrics in the ACC, Notre Dame.
At the foul line, Artis won't shoot it. Wright will, and he drills it a 3-pointer, and a good answer for the Panthers.
And you would not say, Dave, that they have had a ton of bad shots. I think for the most part they've been patient and generated the kind of looks they've been looking for.
James Robinson. And 17-11 Notre Dame. Here's Burgett. He'll launch a 3 straight on and fouled in hitting the 3-pointer. And a chance for a 4-point play here.
His teammates believe this guy has got tons of game.
Artis with the personal.
Just a nice job to find the open area at the top of the key. Artis a little bit late in the challenge and gets too close on the closeout.
So Burgett, 75% at the line. And a 4-point play.
You know who challenged that kind of shot better than anybody maybe in college basketball history? Shane Battier. He would get his hand in your face for a challenge and somehow turn his body and avoid that kind of foul. Still doing it in the NBA, in fact.
Robinson to dribble into the lane, but denied there. Looking for some help now. Patterson, what a great pass there for Randall to stuff it down.
Wow, he came in, Patterson, 4 assists shy of being just the 3rd Pitt player, along with Carl Krauser and Brad Wanamaker, 2 of the best in Pitt's history. 1,000 points, 500 boards, and 400 assists.
And how often when they need an answer, he's the man, either with the shot or the pass. August, nicely done. Right up and over the top for 2.
Yeah, he comes back with a perplexed look on his face. He thought he should have been shooting the N1. I thought there was enough contact for that.
Notre Dame by 10. Robinson to set it up. Point guard who averages only about 8 points a game. Jumping inside. Can't convert. Randall there, and he's fouled on the play. So Derek Randall, the big junior at 6'9", to the line. Well, Bracket Builder Week continues. At 6 o'clock, an SEC battle between the Wildcats and South Carolina. Then at 9, Saturday primetime, Andrew Wiggins leading number 5 Kansas against Marcus Smart and the Cowboys.
Remember
nicely.
Remember our discussions in January when I kept saying Bill Self would have that team right come March. He's very much like Rick Pitino. I don't care what Kansas does in the pre-conference schedule. Bill Self is one of the outstanding coaches in this country.
August with the foul. Randall with another one coming. Smooth on that one. 23-14. Zana coming back on for the Panthers.
But I'm going to say this to you. It's been a long time since I've called a game in Stillwater. It probably goes back about 10 years when I was sideline on Dick Vitale's team. One of the most underrated venues in college basketball, Stillwater. That is a tough place to play.
Could not agree more. When they're good and they are really rolling, there aren't many places that loud in the country. I'm not sure anybody's louder. Connaughton, yes! Gets another triple. He's on fire here early.
You've given him room and rhythm early, and that's problematic for Pat Connaughton. He's an outstanding athlete, a dangerous three-point shooter. You got to be there on the catch.
Tipped up and in, and that was Zana getting high up.
Well, again, second chance points now starting to play a part in Pittsburgh. In fact, they've done a really good job on the offensive glass. The only thing they can point to.
Connaughton drives it, and 2 more for him.
This is one of the outstanding athletes in the ACC, and Jamie Dixon not pleased with his defense, and I don't blame him.
Connaughton has 11 of the 28 Notre Dame points, and they're on top, and Pitt is reeling here early. Well, the Irish faithful liking what they are seeing so far, particularly out of the junior from Arlington, Massachusetts, Pat Connaughton, who is flat cooking.
Well, this is a guy, and you just saw it now. So he's made 3 threes, but he's also a very capable driver, particularly going to his left hand. And he plays bigger than his size. This is a guy who averages 7 boards per game.
Patterson wants to take it. Swing here for Robinson. Coming up on 7.5 remaining in the first half in South Bend. Lamar Patterson airborne. Tough shot. Artist grabbed the loose ball, but then taken away, and Sherman's in pain.
I can't look at that. He hurt his finger.
An official timeout because Sherman is hurt. And you wonder if he may have had to jam the finger or dislocated it.
You know, Pat Connaughton has taken on a huge amount of responsibility on the offensive end. Little screen and roll on one side, he just spaces to the other.
Steve Weissman back in studio. It has gone final. UConn and Cincinnati Huskies pick up the victory. Shabazz Napier, great game. 18 points, 11 rebounds. UConn only shot 31% from the field, but they held the Bearcats to a measly 27%. 6-point win for the Huskies. Meanwhile, over on ESPN right now, Wichita State, its pursuit of perfection continues. That's Ron Baker to Darius Carter, 14-point lead. Dave, Doris?
And 7:25 left here in the first half at South Bend. Notre Dame shooting 77% to this point.
Unaccustomed to seeing things come so easily against a Jamie Dixon coach defense.
Robinson looking inside. Zana setting a screen there. Denied by Atkins. He got it back. Shot clock down to 11. Patterson in the lane. And a foul on the play against Notre Dame. May have gotten Sherman on that one, who returned after jamming a finger that's already injured and already taped up. So he was in some pain right before the commercial timeout. They're actually going to get Tom Knight for his second personal.
And they're going to say it comes before. Uh-oh. You know, they do hit him in the head, but is that ball loose? I don't know. That's not an easy call to take. New 35, though.
Patterson with a three. In the cylinder and kicked out. Young with a rebound, and he'll draw the foul.
7th offensive rebound for Pittsburgh. Notre Dame came out of the last timeout with 7 rebounds.
Foul against Pat Connaughton will be number 1 on Connaughton, who has 11 points to lead all scorers. And Young to the line. Good foul shooter at 81%. Not been able to practice much because of back issues all week.
He's their best post defender. So you've seen the Irish come with the 2 bigs at times. In fact, Knight and Sherman both started. So Young is important today.
Derek Randall will report back in for Jamie Dixon. Panthers have been a pretty good road team. They're 5-2. In fact, it's at home where they have been at times surprisingly mediocre. 4 losses at the Peterson Event Center. That's a lot for them.
Well, they have traditionally been one of the better road teams coming out of the rugged Big East Conference as well. So that's nothing new under Jamie Dixon.
Atkins for Sherman. And the bearded big guy spinning to his right. That won't drop, though.
Good post defense by Randall. Chest up, make him shoot over the top.
Pitt looking to make a run, down by 10 here on the road. Wright with a pull-up jumper and all net.
See what I mean? He's sneaky, you know, just goes shoulder to shoulder with his teammate. Side dribble into the paint. Really good pace and poise by Cameron Wright.
Astoria will back it away. The freshman from Medford, New Jersey. Atkins with shot clock down to 7. Connaughton got the pass. He finally missed one.
Smart defense. It's really smart defense by Young because Robinson was hung up on the screen. Now things starting to tighten up a little bit defensively for Pitt.
Wright with a teardrop and 2 more.
Go ahead. Little sneaky, little change of pace. Go ahead, Cameron Wright. Use that floater. I like it.
A 6-0 run for the Panthers.
You know, the junior knew he'd have more responsibility. The floater into the paint, and then this one 2 possessions ago where he's just going to use a solid screen. See that sidestep dribble? Now, because he knows that defender is on his left shoulder. So to give himself space, that's just a feel play. You don't teach that.
So Notre Dame's lead sliced to 28-22. A couple of great matchups in women's hoop Sunday at 1. Tricia Liston and Duke into Chapel Hill to take on Diamond DeShields and North Carolina. And then Monday at 7, Brianna Stewart, #1 UConn, taking their undefeated record to #3 Louisville.
Well, Diamond DeShields may only be a freshman, but I'm going to say this to you as you see what the Irish women have done. And probably the best challenge to the Connecticut Huskies this year. Diamond DeShields, one of the best players in the country. I don't care that she's a freshman.
Her dad was a terrific baseball player, Delino DeShields. Forget trying to get out of trouble. That trap has given them some issues down in that corner.
Anytime the ball has been on the sideline, Pittsburgh has looked to trap. Both teams mixing up their defense.
Forget on the baseline. And a turnover is on the line.
Do you feel the intensity level change defensively? Well, Mike Bray recognizing now his guys got to be more poised, move the ball. Just what he's saying.
Good to see Jamie Dixon with a little color in his face. Last time we saw him, he looked like a ghost.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tyler Ennis. And the Syracuse point guard's amazing shot from just inside midcourt to beat him at the buzzer. Patterson on Connaughton. Dumping it down low for Randall, and the hook is up and in. Transfer from Rutgers, making a statement here in the first half.
He's done it at both ends. You know, he made the nice play against Sherman defensively. Just challenge, push up, make him shoot over the top.
So Pitt has cut into that lead big time. Sherman trying to get two of those back, spinning to his left for two.
That's okay. You know, that's really good offense for a guy who's grown tremendously. But you could not ask for better defense from Randall in that instance.
Wright gave up the dribble. Newkirk to penetrate. Stumbling into the lane and draws the foul as he was tripped up.
It's amazing what confidence will do. I don't care what level of basketball you're talking about. Mike Bray's system opens up some opportunities. In the absence of Grant, yes, Garrett Sherman has got to be the guy. Solid game last one. Nice little left hand there.
Steve Weissman in studio coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. Wichita State looking to continue its pursuit of perfection, but playing the only team to push them to overtime this year. An update on the way. Plus, UConn, perfect when Shabazz Napier does this. We'll tell you what that is and how the Huskies shot down the Bearcats. For now, back to Dave and Doris.
Steve, thank you very much. Notre Dame on top here, 30-24, but the lead, I'm sure the Irish feel, should be a lot larger given the fact they're shooting 69%.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. Pittsburgh's ability to offensive board it has been crucial. They actually have 8 boards, Notre Dame just 7. Can I make a guess as to what that Shabazz Napier thing is?
Yeah, by all means.
Double-double. I think they said he had 18 points and 11 assists or 11 rebounds. I think if it's a double-double, the Irish are undefeated. That's just a guess.
Bounce for Wright. Another jumper on the way. Fight for the rebound, and once again, Pitt comes away with an offensive board. Right dishes there for Patterson. Nicely done.
They're 8 second chance points, so they doubled the Irish up in that category. And listen, there's a reason coaches know what they're talking about. This is an Irish staff that was highly concerned with Pitt's ability to board it there.
Right, with the quick hands. The adjustment, no, but a follow by Newkirk for 2.
Yeah, and again, I think it's the 2 things. Their ability to offensive board it and the defensive intensity has picked up for Pittsburgh. I thought they were sleepwalking the first 10 minutes on that end.
A big comeback here for the Panthers in a game they desperately need. This is a 14-2 run for Pittsburgh. Right now it's the Irish who have no answers. Jackson on the wing. It's Sherman again, but a long way away from the basket. Cross court, nice pass for Atkins and the triple. The Irish needed that one.
No question about it. Good find. I think Sherman wanted to make a quick decision with it, because had he put it on the deck, Pittsburgh would have doubled it.
Patterson at the head of the key. Sherman on him. Right looking down for Zana. They feed for Patterson. They run that so well.
I mean, I tell you, their zone offense is outstanding. And they emphasize practicing. We talked to Jamie Dixon about this, why he's able to play Syracuse so tight. He said, because we start preparing for the zone from the first day of practice.
2 minutes before halftime here in South Bend. It's turned into a tight one with the Irish on top by 3 and with the ball. Shot clock down to 10 now for Notre Dame. Atkins, here's Connaughton. The spin, got it to go! And he'll go to the line for a 3-point play.
Athletic, strong, smart, and has a good feel for the game. And this is some of the predictable movement that Mike Bray has gone to. They rub him off that post quite often, and they just let him feel his way.
Patterson with the personal, Doris.
Sorry, Dave. They had to simplify the offense because they have so many young guys contributing. So when you simplify it, your movement becomes more predictable. And one of the beneficiaries of that predictable movement has been Pat Connaughton.
He's had a big first half. Sherman spearing that rebound. 14 for Connaughton. He leads all scorers. A major reason Notre Dame has a 6-point advantage here.
It's a little stagger for him. Good help by Lamar Patterson.
Sherman again trying to wriggle free inside, and he draws the foul. Actually going to get a traveling violation. Mike Roberts had a foul. Mike Eads waves that off, and it's a travel.
And it gets Mike Bray upset. I mean, he feels like if there was a travel, it was because there was contact.
See the turnovers there. Notre Dame by half a dozen.
I think the reason Mike Eads was emphatic was because he felt like the baseline defender was shielded because of the bodies making congestion, and he had the better view, and that's why he took the lead there.
Good crew here today as Patterson launches. Too strong with a 3. Batted out again. Another offensive board for the Panthers. Patterson can't convert. Zana gets free, and he'll draw the foul. And he'll be at the line with 47 seconds to go in the first half. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney featuring an ACC showdown. Marcus Page coming off a brilliant effort. Number 19, North Carolina, now into the top 25. Taking on Duke. North Carolina Duke next Saturday at 9 on ESPN.
Boy, what a response for North Carolina. I mean, you know, Roy Williams was very honest, saying this is the single most difficult year that he's ever had. Of course, the scandal early in the year with P.J. Hairston, not having Leslie McDonald, the questions if and when they were going to return, all the struggles they went through to rip off this number of wins in a row in a rivalry game with NC State. For Marcus Page to get that layup end game, just really good resilience by North Carolina.
And what a crazy finish in that game. If you saw the last couple of minutes, more stuff happened in the last 2 minutes of that game than maybe any game I've seen all year.
What a year for T.J. Warren. The guy's leading the ACC. He's got more 20-point games than anybody else in the ACC.
Now Notre Dame with 9 to shoot. Final seconds of the first half here in South Bend. Atkins applies the brakes. Connaughton will fire up a long one and hits it. A forced three-pointer. Been that kind of half for Pat Connaughton, who has 17 points. Chance to get one more up here. Long one and good by Newkirk right in front of the buzzer. A three-pointer. So Pitt answers. But the last 2 minutes of this half were immensely entertaining. Whole first half was awfully good. Connaughton 17 points already, about 4 more than his average.
What a contested shot he just made. Had 2 Pitt defenders flying at him. Great concentration by Pat Connaughton. Pittsburgh's defense got him in late, but look at that challenge.
And hits it, a forced three-pointer. Then that kind of.
And then this is the response. James Robinson recognizing how to push it hard. The trail by Josh Newkirk, and just like that, good answer.
Well, Notre Dame hit 7 out of 9 from 3. Connaughton was perfect, 4 for 4. As we send it to the guys in the studio, 39-35, Notre Dame.
All right, thank you, Dave. This is the Land Rover Halftime Report. I am Steve Weissman in studio. Good finish to the half going down in Notre Dame, and we will get you caught up in the American Athletic Conference. Big games going on there, but we begin with Wichita State and their pursuit of perfection. You know, back on January 11th, we wouldn't even had this if the Shockers hadn't rallied from a 19-point second-half deficit to beat Missouri State in overtime. First defensive possession, they double the ball screen. Forced the turnover, and then here comes Ron Baker. Been a catalyst for this team all year long. Greg Marshall said Missouri State played them the toughest of any team all year. Up 5, Cleanthony early. That's good for 3. Shockers up 8. Now up 10, Ron Baker off of that ball screen. Finds Darius Carter. Where's the defense? Not there. Missouri State started this game shooting 4 of 20 from the field. More for the Shockers. This time it's Fred VanVleet, one of the most underrated point guards in the country, to Ron Baker. And 31-12 right now, Shockers. That's over on ESPN. When we come back, the American Athletic Conference title coming down to the wire. Cincy, Louisville, both in action. Updates on the way.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
Louisville and Memphis in a big battle of ranked teams going on right now. Rick Pitino and company, they're ranked 7th overall. A little facial hair going on for Sir Pitino. First half, Memphis up 3. Shaq Goodwin, Nick King. Tigers could really use a victory at home. Later, Russ Smith, Montrez Harrell down low. Louisville down 4 still in the first. 3-point lead for the Tigers. Jaron Johnson, strong drive, plus the foul. Memphis up 22-16 at that point. It is a 3-point lead for the Tigers. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Now Louisville battling with Cincinnati for that top spot in the American Athletic Conference. Cincy taking on UConn earlier this afternoon, as seen on ESPN. First half, Sean Kilpatrick. He snapped a 5-game streak with at least 20 points, had just 16. That was the longest of his career. It would be all UConn after that 3 for Kilpatrick. Shabazz Napier. And Niels Gaffey with the 3 there. Later, the turnover, and we go the other way. How about some Shabazz Napier? Had 18 points and 11 rebounds. Doris Burke correct with her guess. They are 8-0 when he gets a double-double. Now, this little skirmish happened with Jackson getting a foul call, and then Ted Valentine gets all up in Mick Cronin's grill. We heard earlier Bruce Pearl say he shouldn't have done that, then held some restraint, not calling the technical foul on Cronin. Ryan Boatwright going to finish it out as UConn wins by 6. And taking a look at what that means, here are the standings in the American Athletic Conference. Cincy came into the day on top, but they suffered their 3rd loss in conference, and now Louisville finds themselves right in the mix for that league lead. Cincinnati, Louisville at the top, and UConn a couple games back in the loss column from Cincinnati. Oh, what a finish we had to the first half in South Bend. Pat Connaughton getting that 3 off. Notre Dame a 4-point lead. We'll be right back.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
What to watch for 4 Eastern on ESPN. Virginia clinches the ACC regular season title outright with a victory over Syracuse. The Orange just 1-2 since starting the year, 25-0. How about that Virginia D? Tony Bennett's squad allowing less than 55 points a game. That is the fewest in Division I. Let's take a look at the ACC standings, tell you why the title is on the line. If Syracuse wins out their final 3 games, they can get a share at least of that ACC title. Virginia, of course, if they win, they get it because Duke and North Carolina are a couple games back. Speaking of North Carolina, taking on Virginia Tech right now. Tar Heels ranked 19th in the country, and the Hokies showing them a little game right now. Devin Wilson step back. Not a 3, but a 2. 4-point lead for Va Tech, 7:29 to go in the first half as we take a look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology. Last 4 in. Tennessee, you saw them win earlier right here on ESPN2. They are one of the last 4 in, but still have a couple tough games to come. At Auburn and Missouri at home. Those next 4 out, you see Georgetown, and then Dayton would be the team after that. But first, we catch you up on Tennessee. First half, Vols up 16, Derek Reese. And this would get out of control early on in Knoxville. Second half, Tennessee rolling. Their largest victory ever over Vanderbilt. And this is a big rivalry for these two schools. 35 points it was. This would be even larger. Jerron Mayman tips it away. Here comes Armani Moore. So stylish. Tennessee wins 76-38, their biggest win in the SEC since 2000. We mentioned Dayton, far back on Joe Lunardi's bubble, taking on UMass today. First half, Dayton up 6 off the screen. Kari Price, Jordan Seibert using the basket as a bit of a screen himself. Flyers now up 6. Another steal. Trey Davis. Dyshawn Pierre, c'est bon. Dayton, 61-53. Continuing, but UMass with that fight. Chaz Williams, heard a lot about him earlier in the season. Finds Trey Davis, just like his name, for 3. A little over 2 to play. Now up 5 for Dayton. They call them the Flyers for a reason. 86-79 is your final. As we check out some other bubble matchups, Missouri leading Mississippi State right now. NC State down by 15. That game over. Miami gets the victory. And how about Baylor? They've been off and on the bubble all year long. Ranked as high as 7th in the country. A 13-point lead on Texas Tech in the second half. Cameron Wright and Pitt right now down 4 in South Bend. The second half straight ahead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Viagra.
Welcome to the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. It's all part of Bracket Builder Week. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Pittsburgh Panthers taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We're getting ready for the second half. Notre Dame has really been shooting the lights out. Dave O'Brien, Doris Burke with you on top 39-35 and 74% shooting in the first 20 minutes for the Irish. Can that be sustained?
I don't think that percentage can, but they also made 7 threes. Amazingly, Pittsburgh has taken 14 more shots because of their offensive rebounding, but still find themselves down because they've done a poor job defending the three.
Well, they've also not been able to figure out how to stop Pat Connaughton.
Well, this is one of the outstanding athletes in the ACC, and we said coming in, this is a team that's dangerous from three. He relocates really well. His teammates do a nice job finding him. He's got great range. You cannot let him walk up into a three uncontested. The one he hit late, you can see his athleticism on display. The one he hit late, this one, you can live with this because he's got to create. You've got a good challenge. The uncontested ones are disturbing.
Look at the first half numbers. Notre Dame on top by 4. So given that shooting percentage, it could be a whole lot worse.
No question. Their offensive rebounding kept him in the ballgame. No doubt about it. Points in the paint tilting in Pittsburgh's favor as well.
Connaughton 17 points, 6 out of 7 shooting, 4 for 4 from 3. And oh, by the way, he throws a fastball about 95 miles an hour.
And at his size, you know, that's got to be pretty intimidating.
Again, what is at stake here? It's a big game for Pitt. They are headed to the NCAA tournament. Quick strike here by Knight. Notre Dame is not, but Mike Bray's 400th victory he is hoping will come today. Knight bouncing for Zana. To leave Zana off the fake. Won't shoot it. Robinson will back it away now for Jamie Dixon's team, which is 21-7 coming in. 9-6 in the ACC. Will Lamar Patterson finally get going in the second half? A lot of cold shooting for him. Young knocks in a 3.
That is in his wheelhouse. I know he starts at the power forward, but he's very capable of that. And the Irish went man-to-man on their first possession. Anticipate they'll switch that up throughout the course of the second 20 minutes.
Notre Dame has actually won the last 5 straight against Pittsburgh, so they have had their number. And have had it so far today. Although just a 3-point differential here. Stolen away by Patterson. So Pitt with the denial right on the run. Got a little bump there, but banked it in anyway. No foul on the play.
He's looking for the end one, and I thought there was enough contact. In the new age of rules being what they are, I think he should be at the free throw line. And where would they be without that guy?
Well, he's really had some artistic looking baskets today. And has cut the Notre Dame lead to 1. Connaughton has usually been the answer. Atkins down the lane and draws the foul.
Cameron Wright in transition. We saw him in the half court do his damage. This time an opportunistic transition basket. I thought there was a foul by Atkins. Good enough to look at. That's a foul. I mean, this guy should have been shooting an M1.
Couldn't agree more. Robinson just picked up the foul for the Pitt Panthers. Non-shooting foul. Jackson. That was a sloppy transition there. Kicked into the backcourt. 18:08 to go. And the Pitt Panthers on the attack now and with the basketball. And now an official delay here for a moment. Mike Roberts over at the scoring table.
He's asking right now, Mike Eads, who was the last foul on? There's some confusion at the scorer's table, who it was on.
So Pitt will put it in. Last one was on Atkins, by the way. Eric Atkins of Notre Dame. Look at the turnovers. Only 3 for Pitt. Despite the fact that Notre Dame has shot the lights out for the most part, Pitt has an opportunity to take the lead right now. Patterson lost it on a high dribble and the foul. That'll go against Pittsburgh. It'll be number 2 on Lamar Patterson.
When a team is not shooting well, whether you're playing man or zone, you can play the gaps more. You can see Patterson, his want to right now is to drive it and pitch it to somebody else. You talked about it. He struggled shooting the ball, but the Irish can gap it a little bit more.
His last 7 games, and again, he's the top scorer for the Panthers, 17 a game. Last 7 games, he's shooting 33%. And over that span, Pitt's gone 3 and 4. So they need him desperately. Sherman trying to get out of that trap, which has been dangerous. Here's the jumper by Atkins, and that's not there. Zana high up for the rebound.
Boy, he's controlled the backboards to leave Zana.
Averages 8 a game. Robinson on the baseline, back for Patterson. Right. Contact that time, and he banked it in. That time he did get the whistle.
If there's one guy in that blue jersey who looks confident on the offensive end, looks assertive, it's been Mr. Wright. Cameron Wright is a very good driver going to his right, and he's just going to go into the defender and try to do this.
Demetrius Jackson with the foul. Wright with a 3-point play attempt coming up, 67% at the line. Pittsburgh into the lead, their first lead since it was 4-2.
Cameron Wright, an outstanding student as a business major, and came into the season knowing more would be expected of him.
Under 17 minutes. Now you wonder, has Pittsburgh taken control of the game? The Irish have been in plenty of games where at this point they were very much alive and eventually faltered down the stretch, and it may be happening again. Another turnover. Pitt to Zana. Great job there to reverse, but can't get it to go. Atkins now on the dribble. His jumper on target.
Boy,
so he answers.
Yeah, he came out of the gates on senior day, last opportunity here in the Joyce Center. He came out looking aggressive. I think the team is better when he's looking to score it.
You're right. He's been doing that from the opening tip. Tied at 43. Robinson bouncing for Wright. Shot he likes. The tip is up and in.
Talib Zana again. And this is a very skilled athlete with outstanding feet. This is a guy who grew up in Nigeria playing soccer, so you know his footwork is outstanding.
He's on his way to a double-double. Connaughton lays it in. Very aggressive.
Nothing like having a balanced offensive game. He's burned you from 3, so you pinch up on him, and he makes that driving option available to himself.
19 for Connaughton. Patterson, heavy traffic, spins it up there, and he made the shot. You talk about great control of the basketball to spin that up there, and an opportunity for a 3-point play.
A little bit of English put on the basketball by the 5th-year senior. He and Zana, both in their 5th year, a little experience, little dipsy-do. Nicely done, Lamar.
Pittsburgh's been trailing most of the day, but now have the lead 47-45 here at Notre Dame as we take a look at this week's bracketology, brought to you by Allstate, the Pitt NCAA tournament resume.
I think that white screen at the bottom, 1-6 versus the top 50 RPI, all quality losses, but nonetheless close losses. The bad losses, that's a huge line where it says none, meaning you've beaten the teams you were supposed to beat. And it's why we said at stake today is avoiding the bubble talk. You think 21 wins up against 7 losses, Jamie Dixon's team is in. And yes, they're comfortably in. But you have work to do in these final 3 regular season and your first one in the ACC tournament.
Notre Dame, conversely, has missed only 6 shots all day, and they're behind. Coming up on 15 minutes to go.
Let's see if Pitt's defense starts to get a little bit of teeth in it.
Forget with a jumper and around and out, and Wright handles the rebound. You can really feel the momentum is pulled in Pitt's direction these last 5 or 6 minutes. Newkirk got it on target with a 3.
And delivered by Cameron Wright. I mean, Cameron Wright has had an outstanding day, and that's going to get Mike Bray up and off the bench.
Pitt surging here in search of their 22nd victory. They've taken control. Pittsburgh has the offense rolling, 75% shooting since halftime. Notre Dame opened up really hot. A 17-8 run to begin the game. Pittsburgh, look at what they've done since the start of the second half.
I think, you know, we had the Irish a week ago on the road at Virginia, and to me that game sort of typified their season, where they're in virtually every game they play. Their margin of defeat is small, but they're not able to sustain it for 40 minutes time. Now, can they come back? They're going to have to continue to make shots, and they've got to control Talib Zana. He has absolutely crushed them on the glass. 7 offensive rebounds for Talib, 9 overall.
So Pitt surging into the lead. See, their second half shooting has been as good as Notre Dame was most of the first half. Connaughton. Atkins with a jumper coming. Got it. The three-pointer on target.
Atkins now 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. He's got 12 points. And the Irish go zone.
Patterson on the wing. Newkirk just hit that long shot moments ago, and he gives it up. Vestoria did a nice job hitting the deck there to free that one. Now Notre Dame with an opportunity to tie up the ball game again on this possession. Connaughton outside that 3-point line. He's only missed one shot all afternoon. Shot clock at 9. Here's Burgett open. Got a good look, but he misfires. Notre Dame comes away with it on the baseline, and a foul on the play as August will be at the line.
Their first offensive rebound of the afternoon.
How about that? With 13.5 minutes to go.
Zach August, who had been in the starting lineup briefly, ball comes loose. He's really sort of lucky it just pops to him, but he'll get himself to the free throw line.
This is a scuffle for him, the 6'10 sophomore from Marlborough, Massachusetts. Only 45% at the foul line. It looks good on the first one.
There's a lot of air underneath that shot, though, boy. A lot of things can go wrong if there's. Let's see what the arc on this shot is.
He's had some nice moments this season. Had a double-double against Clemson, 14 points, 12 rebounds. There's a lot to work with there.
Yeah, that's really high. That's a good touch. You know what that reminds me of? James Michael McAdoo, who has scuffled all season and, you know, sort of tried to do a number of different things to work on his free throw percentage. You got to pick one and go with it.
Pitt by 1 on the road.
And the Irish in the zone. A casual effort by Newkirk cost him a turnover. What do they do here against the zone?
Zana. 10 to shoot. Robinson fires. Badly off target. That didn't touch a thing.
So 2 possessions against the zone where they go 0 for 2. One a turnover, one a missed shot.
Atkins wants that baseline. Very, very rarely turns it over. One of the best in the country.
He and Connaughton have been absolutely outstanding with their assist-to-turnover ratio. Top 7, both of them in the ACC.
Pasturian backs it away. Inside 10 on the shot clock. August on the baseline. Trying to drive inside. Blocked from behind by Young.
You can see why that is their best post defender. He gets chest up. He's athletic enough to get you from behind.
Back out for Patterson. Trying to wiggle inside, but Robinson's there. Fans are all over Robinson for that last air ball. Shot clock to 8 now for the Panthers. Underneath, look at the look for Zana and the stuff.
Wow, just outstanding patience. Because I'll tell you this, the Irish did an outstanding job matching up out of that zone. You do not have to be passive in a zone, and the Irish were not. That is just good patience and good vision from Patterson.
Well, it's got to be fun to play with Lamar Patterson, because if you're open, he will find you.
No doubt about it. That is his 5th assist. So he does join Wanamaker and Krauser as guys with 1,000 points, 500 boards, and 400 assists.
With a drive by Atkins, but Patterson is there for the rebound.
I mean, he's doing everything he has done for a Pittsburgh team his entire career. Fill a stat sheet.
And here he is from the corner. Got that! A 3-pointer. Boy, that little 90-second vignette for him shows you how valuable he is for Pitt. He did a little bit of everything there.
6'5", 225-pound, 5th-year senior who can impact and affect winning in a variety of different ways. And you think back to Carl Krauser and Brad Wanamaker, same thing. How about that? He feels 2 defenders, knows the back line of that Irish defense is not in position, and then just cuts through the lane, finds himself in the corner. And remember, in between those 2 plays, he's the one who corralled the rebound.
17 points a game, also 5 rebounds and 4 assists for the senior who graduated with a justice degree and now pursuing his master's. First half, that was certainly one story for Pitt. Second half, they've caught fire, and Lamar Patterson is leading them out in front at Notre Dame by 6.
And because of the weight of responsibility on him, he is a far leaner player than he was a year ago. Drops about 20 pounds. Make sure he is ready to bear the weight of responsibility. I sounded like Bugs Bunny on that last one for a moment.
With a wedding, yeah. Nice recovery, though. Sherman harassed in the double team, trying to get out of that trap. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and it's going to be a jump ball. It'll be Pittsburgh ball. So that defense really paid off there. Pitt will have it. Starting to lock up Notre Dame here in the second half. 56-50. The Panthers on a roll.
Well, what do you notice about Lamar Patterson's head? It's up, and he's seeing that this defense is coming up the floor, and so he's just going to make a pitch. So they screen the zone, and then the back line defense of the Irish is going to come up, and look at that pass, beautifully done. All right, that's just good execution. And I'll say this to you, we asked Jamie Dixon, because I think they run great zone offense. I said, why is it so good? You get such good activity. Guys on the ball, guys off the ball, your ability to screen it. He said, when we came into the Big East, we knew that we would have to beat Syracuse and the vaunted 2-3 zone of Jim Boeheim. He said, so from October 15th forward, we always work against the zone, and in fact have instituted their own zone similar to Syracuse's.
And Jim Boeheim makes the point, it's really hard to score against them. As much success as they've had against the Syracuse zone, it's really hard to score against Pitt typically. Shot clock's down to 6. Robinson spinning away from that, down to 3. The baseline jumper in and out by Young.
Can the Irish get either Atkins or Connaughton a clean look from 3 here?
Well, second half shooting, nothing like the first for the Fighting Irish. 44% since halftime, after shooting 74% in the first 20 minutes, and before the shot, a foul with exactly 10 minutes to go. That'll go against Newkirk of the Pitt Panthers, number 1. And their 4th team foul.
Well, that could be a story now. Another few, and the Irish would be put into the bonus. Want to defend without fouling.
Notre Dame, a pretty solid foul shooting team at 72%. Jackson to drive and fouled. Patterson came over to help defend.
I think they're going to get Robinson on the body.
It will be on Robinson. That'll be his second. Now this a shooting foul. Looked like Jackson got hit in the eye too. Shooting 2, 78%. His high school is just 15 minutes from the Notre Dame campus in Mishawaka, right down the road.
Well, and he came in with such high-level credentials, so much excitement from the Irish fan base. Hasn't necessarily gone as smoothly as you would hope. And, it's an interesting decision to stay close to home because, one, there's better fan support. Obviously, it generates excitement for the program. But it also, to me, increases the pressure on the young man because there is some want to do well in front of your hometown fans.
Yeah, great to have that proximity to friends and family, but they're also showing up for every game.
Yes.
Can work both ways, I guess. Robinson still here. He gets serenaded from the student section for Notre Dame after an air ball. That happened a long time ago. They have long memories. Right. No traveling violation there, but the jumper won't fall. And a rebound by the Pitt Panthers, Derek Randall, and he draws the foul.
He should be teed up here. If he's not, I'm surprised. I mean, August is just competing there. You know, listen, he did an outstanding job, Randall, on the weak side backboards. Outstanding. But August is just trying to make a defensive play. I'm not sure what he's angry about. Unless I missed something in the replay, it looked to me like August was just trying to make a play.
It's Connaughton who is down and very close to the front row of seating and now getting to his feet, but very wobbly. Pat Connaughton, who has put on a shooting display in this one, although has been held scoreless for a long time here, has just 2 points in the second half.
You see the proximity to the court of those sideline seats. There's not a whole ton of space. As you see, he gets tangled up. Oh, yeah, left ankle. Ugh.
And he's going to have to leave the floor. He's headed for the trainer's room. So we'll get you an update as soon as we can. Pat Connaughton, who has been the man for the Irish, you certainly cannot afford to lose him with 9 minutes to go here. And Pitt with a 56-52 lead. Patterson gave up the dribble back for Wright. Wright wants to drive it. Fires it up. A lot of iron, but it won't fall in. Let's see how the Irish handle it without Connaughton in the lineup. Jackson with a bounce pass. And a whistle underneath. Zach August, the 6'10 sophomore, getting very, very active. The foul will go against Randall. August at the line with ABC's NBA Sunday Showcase at 1 o'clock. It'll be Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks heading to Chicago to take on the Bulls, all starting with NBA Countdown presented by Speed Stick Gear at 12:30.
I heard an announcer, I believe it was Steve Kerr from TNT, who said Joakim Noah has now got to be considered a top 10 player in the league. I was stunned by that remark. It's been an extraordinary season for Joakim Noah in Chicago. How they win games is just, in the face of what they have lost and the injuries, it's extraordinary.
Well, you have that game. You're heading for Chicago right after we finish up here. Tell you what, Notre Dame is hanging around because they've not missed a foul shot all day. They're 10 for 10.
And it's why I made the point a couple minutes ago. The next foul by Pittsburgh puts them in a bonus.
Zana off the fake. He'll go to the line for two. Talib Zana to shoot, fouled by Burgett, who picks up number 2. Zana at 63% at the foul line. He's having another big rebounding game. His last 2 games, he had 14 rebounds against FSU and then scored 21 points against Boston College. He's been a force on the glass, particularly here in the second half, but he misses.
Well, and you see the frustration, and I don't blame Jamie, because this guy is averaging 6.4 free throw attempts a game because of his frame and because of his dominance. He's at the rim all the time, but it doesn't help you unless you can capitalize here.
He makes 1 of 2. So the Pittsburgh lead is 3 points with 8.5 left.
No Connaughton, so can Vastoria make shots, or Jackson get off the dribble, or can you find Atkins for an open 3?
Connaughton appeared to twist an ankle and is left for the trainer's room for Notre Dame. Blocking foul along the baseline on Cameron Wright. Number 1. So that is 1-and-1 time. That's the team's 7th.
I tell you, the way the Irish are shooting, this is huge that they're in the bonus with this much time to go.
They're 10 for 10 at the foul line. Atkins is a 68% foul shooter. And the one thing they know about Eric Atkins, he's going to play just about the entire day.
Yeah.
He's had 8 games this season where he's played all 40. He's averaging 38 minutes a game, which is 5th most in the country.
Leads the ACC. Now you think about it, in the double overtime game against Clemson, he plays all 50 minutes.
Yeah. He's been a rock. Played 103 games at Notre Dame. Young to drive it. Little contact. Knocks it down anyway.
Good patience. Really good patience by Young.
Young with 7 points. Pitt back on top by 3. Big question for the Irish, and I'm sure their fans here at the Joyce Center are very concerned about it too. Are they going to see Pat Connaughton the rest of this day, or is he done? 15 to shoot it now. Jackson. Atkins with it. Shot clock at 7. August up to set a screen. Atkins with a long one. That clangs away. Young, quick step to his right, and the follow by Zana. And Pat Connaughton has just reported back to the bench.
I think as soon as Mike Bray sees him, he's probably going to send him back in unless he gets word from the trainer that he can't go.
Zana with a big afternoon brewing. 13 points, 10 rebounds, but Pat Connaughton has returned. We'll see if they can get him into the game here with 7:02 to go.
Well, this is why dribble drive compromises your defense, because Pittsburgh puts Zana in that position because they get off the dribble drive in that last set.
A bracket builder week continues. It's 6 an SEC battle. The number 17 Wildcats taking on South Carolina. And then at 9, a Saturday primetime matchup. Andrew Wiggins leading number 5, the Jayhawks against the Cowboys. Saturday primetime, presented by DirecTV.
You got a Kentucky team that was in a dogfight, end up losing the basketball game against Arkansas. So trying to bounce back.
Now here we have just over 7 minutes to go. Connaughton not ready to come right back into the battle.
So that makes me wonder if we will see him again. We're hoping to get word from Notre Dame.
Atkins. Here's Jackson, a very good three-point man. Vestoria now. 5 to shoot it. Jackson's well away from the basket. A long 3, well short. Vestoria picks it, gets it back up there, can't hit. So the Irish had 2 cracks at it. Patterson in the lane. Another assist for him is right converted, and now Pittsburgh has their biggest lead of the day.
I love the pace that Lamar plays with. He just plays with such good pace. He's pushing the ball hard in transition, but his pace changed right inside the free throw line. Just slow down, let your guys fill the lane.
Savvy, smart, patient.
Oh, beautifully done. Just beautiful.
Vestoria's 3. They answer.
I like him. That's
Big make for the Irish.
He just carries himself like a guy who's going to be a player for the Irish. Typical Irish guard. Good shooter. Little edgy confidence to him. Just a freshman. And you know what? The ball finds Vestoria in moments that matter, and he doesn't shy away.
2-time Philadelphia Catholic League Player of the Year. Zana lets fly.
I don't like it. No, you know what? It's a terrible shot. And not that he's not capable, but there's 13 ticks left.
Atkins draws the foul as he went in strong.
Well, Pat Connaughton was at the scorer's table. He will be back on the other side, and we have got a great game between old foes.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5 Hour Energy. And in part by Volkswagen. That's the power of German engineering.
Steve Weissman in studio updating you on Louisville and Memphis. Russ Smith finds Montrezl Harrell sneaking behind the D. 1-point lead, though, for the Tigers right now. 11 minutes to go in the second half. Coming up following our game, Adrian Payne. He missed the first meeting against Illinois, but Michigan State first fully healthy squad in nearly 2 months as they battle the Illini about a half hour from tip. For now, back to South Bend, David Doris.
Steve, thank you very much. Well, Joe Lunardi's NCAA tournament bids by conference. He has the Big 12 with 7, Pac-12 with 7, the Big 10 there with 6, this ACC with 5 bids.
And we just got a message from Chuck Walsh, the SID at Florida State, coming off that Pittsburgh win, saying they're in the tournament. And I'd like to be that optimistic, but the Seminoles have work to do.
Work to do, but there's a lot of talent there.
No question. Absolutely no question.
And I don't think you can count them out of the picture yet, for sure. Atkins will be at the line.
Joe Lunardi has them first 4 out. That Pittsburgh wins. Why I made the point in the first half that sometimes it's about when you play somebody. So Pittsburgh had been scuttling. They had the loss to Syracuse, couple heartbreakers, right? But then you face a Florida State team desperate. And there you see it. Providence is a team who has overcome so much adversity. 74-69 win against Seton Hall last night. 3 Big East teams in, but the Friars hovering behind one of the outstanding guards in the country in Bryce Cotton.
Somehow I knew you'd get that in.
Yes, I am a little bit biased.
That's all right. Hey, by the way, Notre Dame just missed their first foul shot all day. 3-point lead here for Pitt, coming up on 5 minutes to go. Connaughton is back in the game, despite the turned ankle, and taken away from Zana. Sherman comes up with it.
Just casual with the ball there.
Atkins. Let's see if they find number 24 for the Irish. And what shape he is in. He had a terrific first half. 17 points. Here he fires a 3, and that's well short. Vestoria gets it back, though.
Good activity by Vestoria. He's made a couple of those plays off the ball. And a good switch by Patterson on that guard-to-guard screen because he gave a good challenge.
Vestoria is the open shooter. The line driver not there.
Just 1 of 5, Vestoria. But I'm telling you, the ball finds him in these moments, and he doesn't shy away.
Frankly, he was wide open there. Underneath Young, and again, a sloppy turnover for the Pitt Panthers.
This is something we talked to Jamie Dixon about prior to the game. You know, he was talking about his team's turnovers in certain games, 17 against Boston College, and you could tell how stunned he was. Look at him. He's like, I cannot believe what I'm watching.
Just not their style.
No.
Turned it over 8 times today.
Yeah, and it's not the number, it's when.
Tight one here, inside 4 left at South Bend. Jackson dribbling through the lane. He gives it up.
Oh, he missed Cameron Wright.
Yeah, Cameron Wright was open. Young, no basket there. It's out anyway, and a whistle. 3:49 to go, and Jamie Wright saw, well, we all saw it. He had an open man. Wright was racing down the court, but Young missed him.
Steve Weissman in studio. A little ACC update. Virginia Tech hosting North Carolina. Wesley McDonald for 3. 5-point lead right now. Leslie McDonald with 10 points to lead the Tar Heels. Meanwhile, CJ Fair, your leading scorer for Syracuse, about 17 points a game. Tipping off with Virginia. This will be for the ACC title on the line. That's coming up next on ESPN, guys.
Steve, thank you. ACC projected NCAA tournament seeds. According to Joe Lunardi, Syracuse would be a 1, Duke a 2, Virginia a 3, Carolina now in the top 25 a 5, and his Pittsburgh Panther team a number 9 seed.
The 3 seed obviously has everything to do with Virginia's non-conference schedule.
From now on until the end of the NCAA tournament, Lunardi does not sleep.
No.
Patterson will back it into the corner. Shot clock to 7. Here's Zana. Newkirk. Shot clock at 2. He drives it in. Can't convert. Out of play off Pitt. So an opening here for the Irish, who've certainly cooled down in the second half.
Yeah, just 2 for 9 from three-point territory. Mike Bray's team has got 27 points from 3, 9 of 18 on the afternoon. And now Pitt going to go a little offense-defense substitution. So Newkirk out and Young back in.
Far more important game for the Pitt Panthers than a nicely run play inside for Sherman. And now a 1-point game with 3 minutes left.
It's been a heck of an afternoon here in South Bend.
Timeout, Jamie Dixon with 2:55 to go and suddenly clinging to a 1-point lead.
Well, an important possession, and he knows it, and so he's going to make sure they're on point with what they want to do. Now, the Irish have mixed up their defense. Be very interesting out of the timeout. Are they in that man or the zone? Little screen. And listen, Zana, who has been hedging all afternoon, gets beat because the guard gets hung up, and nice little read by Eric Atkins.
Points in the paint, a gigantic lead for the Pitt Panthers, 34-18. And out of this timeout, obviously Pitt's got to get a basket. They got to get it to a hot hand. They haven't scored for a long time since 6:22 showed on the clock.
Well, we've documented it throughout the course of this game that over the final 8 games of this, or the last 8 games of this season, it's been a real struggle. For this guy in particular, has not shot it well. You've talked about it all afternoon. I still trust him in these moments, I got to be honest with you, as a playmaker or a scorer.
Newkirk getting off for Patterson on the baseline, and a foul. That'll go against Vastoria.
You can see Vastoria's left foot was up high, and his whole thinking in that instance was, I'm going to force him up. Watch his left foot. You see, he wants to push him back, but Lamar is able to get that right foot by and force the foul.
Pitt not shooting yet. That was their 6th foul against Notre Dame. Wright wants the jumper. Short. And now the Irish with an opportunity to retake the lead.
Feels like forever since Connaughton's had a shot.
Kicked around. Atkins cradles it on the deck. Gave it up. Patterson out beyond the 3.
Quality shot here.
Bounce on the baseline, but mishandled and thrown away by Robinson. Not only did he bobble it, he also kicked it away. Connaughton's 3. Around and out. That was inside the cylinder.
Wow. It had been felt like a long time because of the injury. Now Jamie going to use another timeout. Going to try to make sure he gets another quality look. Well, boy, you're burning those timeouts right now. Should you need them later?
He has 2 remaining. Notre Dame with 1. Look how close this shot was to going down by Pat Connaughton from the corner.
Wow.
Just spun out. Crowd, they certainly believed it was good.
That is great. Living and dying with the fate of the Irish. Mike Bray just saying, guys, you got a great shot here. Boy, the turnovers down the stretch of this ball game for Pittsburgh, and again, it's not a total high number, but what do they have in their last 6 possessions?
Well, their last 6 possessions, they've turned it over 3 times and missed 3 shots.
And no offensive boards.
No offensive rebounds.
That's been a dominant storyline, and the reason they've been able to get this advantage. 17-2 advantage, second chance points.
So if you're Jamie Dixon drawing up a play here, just trying to get somebody to hit a shot, is it Patterson again, or who do you go to?
Well, Cameron Wright has buoyed you all afternoon. He missed his last opportunity on a shot he's typically capable of making. And again, I'm going to say it again. To me, I still trust Lamar Patterson. And the reason you're going to play through those 2 guys is Robinson is an outstanding point guard, but he's a pass-first guy and not a dynamic driver. So Patterson is your better playmaker.
Wright does have 15 points. By the way, Illinois-Michigan State is coming up right after our game out of the Big Ten.
And the Irish in their man-to-man with Bastoria checking Patterson.
Nice bounce feed. Robinson can't get it to go. And the crowd continues to jump all over James Robinson.
Looks like possession Pittsburgh, although the officials are going to converse here. Should it stay Pittsburgh ball? Just 18 ticks on the clock.
Minute 33 to go. Take another look.
Well, he misses this badly. Ooh, did Robinson's left fingertips get a piece of that?
I wonder about that.
It looked like his left hand came up through the gold jersey.
63-62 Pittsburgh. The officials are back over at the monitor. Here's that same angle. Boy, it looked like it there, didn't it, with that left hand?
It sure did. But on the weak side, I would say V.J. Beacham, his fingertips were on it. Obviously a huge call. +1 with the ball and another opportunity to score.
Mike Eads, Brian Dorsey, and Mike Roberts over at that monitor. Right now it's Pittsburgh ball.
And just so you know, next foul committed by Notre Dame would put Pittsburgh at the line because they've been 1 shy of the bonus. So possession arrow in the Irish favor, and remains Pittsburgh basketball here. So plenty of time on the shot clock. No need to rush.
I really wonder if the student section is rattling James Robinson, the sophomore, because he air-mailed that layup attempt.
Yeah, he did. And that was after the air ball on the 3 earlier.
Patterson with 10 to get off a shot. He wants to take it to his right. Can't bank it in. Tipped up and in by Young.
Wow.
Got his fingertips on it and directed it back in.
And Jamie Dixon just used another timeout.
So he's down to 1. Notre Dame also has 1 remaining with 1:17 to go.
Boy, on the weak side, it's up soft, but watch that weak side where Young just gets a piece. Woo. That is called checking in on the weak side. Nicely done by Young, who's had an outstanding afternoon.
Second chance points. Pitt with a big lead, 19-2. Doris Burke, Dave O'Brien with you, and down the stretch we come. You know, Notre Dame has been involved in a lot of games like this, but I'm not sure anybody in America has been involved in more really close games than the Pitt Panthers have.
And if you're Pittsburgh, you really want to win one of these because you've had your heart broken on last-second plays on multiple occasions, and obviously a huge defensive stand here. And Pittsburgh, who has been showing more zone under Jamie Dixon, the deeper he gets into his career, comes out man-to-man.
Pitt by 3. Notre Dame with the ball. Up top, Connaughton. Approaching 1 minute to go in South Bend. Atkins, and it's going to go the other way.
Wow, illegal
Foul
screen.
here. An illegal screen on Garrett Sherman. His second.
Now, do you lean at all just to, you see, that's just has to do with that left leg being out just a little bit. Mike Brey doesn't even fight it.
So Sherman, a senior, Somebody tossed something onto the floor, so the public address announcer is going to warn the crowd about that behavior. 1 minute left. 65-62 Pittsburgh.
And again, I go right back to my point about Lamar Patterson, who created a drive to allow Young to offensive board it, and Jamie Dixon goes right back to him. Will it find him off the screen now?
Patterson high. Glanced up at that clock. 20 on shot clock. Back for Robinson. Cameron Wright has had a very productive day. Tough drive. Robinson off the fake. Back out. Patterson's three. Can't bury that. Oh, big rebound by Wright.
Pull it now. Pull it.
And a whistle. He's fouled by Jackson with 24.9 to go. And the shot clocks are off.
Just looked momentarily like he was thinking he might put that ball back up.
So it'll be Cameron Wright at the line, fouled by Demetrius Jackson. Wright hit 67% at the line.
You know, the story of the afternoon has been Pittsburgh's ability to get on the offensive backboards. None more crucial than Cameron Wright getting that one. Just so many blue jerseys working. The ball takes a good bounce into the hands of Cameron Wright.
Pitt today with 18 offensive rebounds. Wright can't hit the first. Big miss.
You don't need the three, but if you get a clean look at three, you'll take it.
Atkins fires that three, and it's in and out. Basteri with a great save. Back out for Connaughton. 10 left in the game. Swing into the corner. Beacham. Got it! This game is tied. Timeout. Freshman B.J. Beacham knocks down a three and ties it at 65.
This guy in the game against Boston College had a pair of huge threes. And off the offensive rebound, he just spaces himself into the corner and delivers yet again for the Fighting Irish. A good ball reversal by Atkins, who had just missed an opportunity. And Pittsburgh is probably thinking, you've got to be kidding me, not again.
We go again. On February 5th in Miami, they won in overtime. The very next game against Virginia Tech, they won in double overtime. And the game after that, they lost at the buzzer to Syracuse.
It has been a season of heartbreaking losses. That February 12th game against Syracuse, where they had played so well.
I mean, this is just February,
yes.
This list.
Yep.
Wow. And here we go again.
So again, I say it. Listen, where you catch this ball is crucial, because it will dictate to a large measure the kind of shot you're going to get.
Who takes it?
Well, the Irish will come with some soft pressure. Your best playmaker and passer is Lamar Patterson. The last time they put it into the hands of James Robinson, he's your point guard. If it finds him, his ability to push it in 2 or 3 dribbles and advance it to scoring position is crucial.
So 6.1 seconds to go. The officials are going to add some time here because the timeout was called before the clock was stopped. So it's going to go to 7.7.
See when the ball goes through the net. That's a good call. So 7.7. The officials are all over it. You like that they can use the monitor to make sure the time and score is correct. And again, the Irish, you need to push everybody. If it's pressure, it's soft pressure. Don't let anyone past you. Newkirk has checked in as an extra ball handler, and he's got speed.
Cameron Wright is going to check it in for Pitt. 7.7 seconds remaining in regulation. Tied 65-65. Pittsburgh with the ball.
Lamar Patterson is deep buried in the corner, in position to stretch the defense. Should Newkirk or Robinson get by, it would be a look on a relocation and pitch to Patterson.
Notre Dame, at this point anyway, is not going to put anybody on the basketball, nobody on the inbound.
They're going to just force the ball to be caught. Hopefully, in their mind, they want the ball caught below the free throw line.
Inbounded for Notre. Cross midcourt. 5 seconds left. Here's Patterson. He looks up. And a whistle and a timeout.
Wow, I thought Pittsburgh got their timeout back. But Lamar Patterson's upset. He had an angle. I thought he was going to get right by the defender. I thought that play shaped up beautifully, and you didn't necessarily need that timeout.
With 2.8 seconds to go.
He's mad, and he's mad because he knew he had his defender in his hip. Watch this. Lamar Patterson's in perfect position to get by his guy. Watch what happens. Look at him. He's got to step on him, and he's thinking. And then that's when you had a one-on-one isolation for Lamar Patterson, and he's hot.
So give me some idea of why you would call a timeout.
I'm not sure in this instance because the floor was spaced. You had your best playmaker with the ball.
You could see Patterson while he was airborne glancing over his shoulder.
Couldn't believe it.
At the bench as if to say,
Look
what?
at him. He can't believe it. He simply couldn't believe it because the way the floor was spaced and the one-on-one matchup was perfect for your best player and playmaker.
Now they still have 2.8 seconds to inbound, get a shot, and win the game, and then all will be forgotten, I would assume. But at this moment, it's staggering to figure out what happened there. Why would they call a timeout?
I didn't think they needed the timeout in that instance. Not when you got the ball to the guy, because the play was executed perfectly. In fact, I thought it was poor defense by the Irish, truth be told. They let Josh Notre come up the floor in 2 dribbles. That allowed Patterson to have time to be in a one-on-one situation.
He looked very comfortable with the ball in his hand and a game on the line. Well, now Wright will inbound in the offensive zone. Bounced here. Robinson getting a shot up, got it off, and he can't win it. We're going to overtime. Maybe a crucial mistake by the Pitt Panthers to call that timeout prior to the final shot and never allowing Lamar Patterson to win it in regulation.
Now this is the shot out. You're working with far less time, a guy with not blazing speed, and he's going to get a contested jumper. I thought that timeout was a mistake. Now I'm going to revisit something because we have the opportunity, Dave O'Brien. And we'll do it on the other side because we're going to go back to Steve Weissman in studio.
All right, so we're heading for overtime here in South Bend. Right now, let's toss it back to the studio and Steve Weissman. Steve?
All right, thank you very much. Next game here, so it'll start on ESPN3. Gary Harris leading the Spartans in scoring. Michigan State, all men on deck. First time every guy on the roster has practiced since the first week of January. They're taking on Illinois. Meanwhile, coming up next on ESPN, Malcolm Brogdon. He didn't know until recently that Virginia could win the ACC for the first time in 33 years. They're taking on Syracuse, 4 Eastern on ESPN. And Wichita State looks like they're going to stay perfect. Big lead on Missouri State right now, and a tight one. Louisville, 6-point lead over Memphis late in the second half. Dave, Doris?
Tied at 65, Pittsburgh and Notre Dame ready for the start of overtime here from South Bend. Doris Burke and Dave O'Brien, you were touching on something right before we went.
Where Jamie Dixon took an awful lot of heat in that Syracuse game where Tyler Ennis hit that incredibly difficult jump shot for calling the timeout. And it's easy for us to second guess in the aftermath. I agreed with his timeout in that Syracuse game because he didn't like the way his guys were lined up defensively. This is a case where I thought it was a timeout he did not need. You know, think about this. Go back to the Syracuse game. If he doesn't call that timeout and Tyler Ennis hits the same shot, they're second guessing him for not calling the timeout. In this instance, Lamar Patterson had his defender beat, and with plenty of time to get to the rack.
Seems that is beyond debate from what we just saw. Third time in the last 7 games, Pittsburgh goes to overtime. The 4th time this season that Notre Dame has gone to overtime, and they won the first 3.
And the Irish are 9-1 in their last 10 games in overtime. Let's say this to you. Lamar Patterson, get your head back in the ball game. Yes, you're upset that the timeout was called, but your team needs you now.
Pitt has just shut down offensively. Patterson fires, and too strong. Young went up for the rebound, knocked out of play, and it's going to be off of Pitt.
No, I think they're going to call a foul.
Call a foul on that play.
Wow. Is it Michael Young?
So tied at 65 with 4:40 to go. So it'll also produce a 1-and-1.
Yeah, it's got to be on Michael Young. Yeah.
Pittsburgh's offense, the last 622, just one field goal, and they missed the front end of a 1-and-1. Turned it over 4 times in that span. And Astoria makes the first.
Foul was in fact on Michael Young.
So the freshman makes them both. 67-65. Right up top. Connaughton on him. Here's Patterson. To penetrate. Right. Off his fingertips. Shot clock at 11. The spin move. No, the tip won't fall. Zana comes away with it. And ripped away by Sherman.
I think Jamie Dixon pleading for a foul. Nice job by Sherman. You know, he's been beaten badly on the defensive backboards, but he has not given up in the face of it. Just trying to be active with his hands and gets his guys a possession.
Notre Dame trying to grab one here and stick Pitt. Will certainly be a very crushing defeat, even though it is on the road at South Bend.
And the bubble talk would absolutely begin.
Sherman falling backward, and they don't get the shot off. It's a shot clock violation. They never got it to the iron.
Coaching is not easy. Look at this, living and dying with every possession. 21 wins. You think you can relax? No, sir. It's why we've said all afternoon the bubble talk would begin for Pittsburgh. 1-6 against the top 50 RPI. This would not be considered a good loss.
Patterson up high. Can he get going in these last 3 minutes of overtime? Atkins trying to stick with him. The scoop, he made it, and he'll go to the line. Big make there by the senior.
Big make on a big time move and a big time finish with your left hand. And why do you put your time in the gym? To improve your handle for moments exactly like this. You pay a price so that you can go to the rim with confidence.
Sherman with his third.
How about that behind the back dribble? Lots of gold jerseys around. The confidence and the ability to keep your head up while bouncing the ball.
And a three-point play for Lamar Patterson.
Big time shot. He has just contributed in so many ways today, Patterson.
15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for him. We are in overtime in South Bend. Pitt up by a point. Here's Eric Atkins. Trying to muscle his way inside. Finds Vestoria. Got it.
I think they should review that. They need to review that. I thought his toe was on the line.
They're going to take a look.
What I say about Vestoria, that kid is not shy, and he's not shot it particularly well, but somehow that ball finds him when the moments matter.
At the moment, Notre Dame 70-68. But they will take a look, an official review here, to determine whether it's a 3 or a 2.
And of course the ball is going to find Vestoria because your defense is going to sell out against guys like Connaughton and Atkins. So he does a nice job spacing off of those guys.
If Pittsburgh should fall here this afternoon, so much talk, I would say almost exclusively, will be on Jamie Dixon's decision to call that timeout.
Yeah.
With a couple of seconds left in regulation, this team with the ball looked like Lamar Patterson was on his way to the basket and maybe on his way to an easy shot. Which of the two timeout controversies then do you think deserves more of a spotlight? The end of the Syracuse game or this one?
This one. To me, this one did, because I thought they ran the play they wanted to run and got the execution. The floor was spaced. The ball found your best one-on-one player in isolation with a chance and a driving angle. And you and I made no big deal of the timeout he called against Syracuse because we could recognize calling that game that he was uncomfortable with where his defense was positioned.
Right, and at some point, don't you have to say, Tyler Ennis crossed over twice from 35 feet, drained the shot.
Correct.
Give the kid the credit.
Yes.
You know, whether they call the timeout or not, there's a best look we can give you on whether that's a 3 or a 2.
I thought he was on the line. I mean, I'm watching it, and we're directly across from it. I had no defender in my vision, and I thought his toe was on the line. But they called it a 3, so it's got to be indisputable evidence.
The jump shot by Steve Bastoria bottomed it out, but is it a 3 or a 2?
We're going to get the word from Mike Eads right now.
Mike Eads over to chat with Doris about this and tell us what they saw there. And what did Mike tell you?
I think they're still reviewing it. That's exactly what he's saying. They're taking some time now to make sure that they have vision. I'll be honest with you. I thought his right foot was on the line. I mean, that's why I saw him signal 3, and I said I thought they needed to review it because I thought it was a 2. But for these officials to change the call, it's indisputable evidence, okay? So they've got to feel really good about what they're thinking. They're going to keep it because it's not indisputable evidence.
And Brian Dorsey's going to come over now. Yep, that's exactly what Brian says. Nothing on the angle to change it.
Yeah. And again, because they called it a 3. I'm telling you, I thought his right toe was on the line.
You've got to make a call.
Yeah, no question.
70-68. So that score will stand. Notre Dame with the lead and 2:46 to play. And it'll be Pittsburgh basketball here. In a game that really has been a dandy. In a game that means a whole lot more, frankly, to Pittsburgh than it does to Notre Dame. But try explaining that to the Irish fans and the Fighting Irish on the floor.
Well, you got a bunch of proud seniors on the floor for Mike Bray. And I'll tell you what, it's been a hard year for Mike Bray, but look at that energy and passion coming off him on the sideline. Little flex action there, nothing doing. The Irish holding tight.
Right with it, shot clock at 15. Right to the baseline. To Young, and draws the foul.
I'll tell you this. Pittsburgh does an outstanding job of passing the ball in tight spaces.
August will pick up his second foul here.
He has no angle at the rim. August should have sat tight as a defender. Your instinct as a teammate, right? August is going to go out now. Beecham comes in. Your instinct as a teammate when you see somebody get beat on the baseline is to rotate over. But you got to be aware of the angle, Dave. He had no angle, Cameron Wright. Even if he took a shot attempt from the left side of the basket, it was no angle. It was going to be a tough shot. Your guy had done his job. Don't overhelp.
We are top 70 in overtime. Atkins driving right. So now Pitt with an opportunity to grab the lead here.
Look at you're playing middle field. Young's got the ball.
Patterson driving in. The follow is up and good. Patterson is so often the man for the Panthers when it matters the most. It certainly did in regulation when he was denied a chance to win it potentially on that timeout. 1:35 to play in the OT.
The Irish have never made Zana pay for hedging so hard.
Bastoria trying that baseline, went for the reverse, draws the foul. 90 seconds to go.
Well, Lamar Patterson is going to come off the screen and roll, and he has an ability to make plays when it matters most. Never really got a great angle, stuck with it, and gets the follow-up.
Bastoria buries that one. The foul is by Young, his second.
All afternoon, Talib Zana has hedged hard, and the Irish have never made him pay. He's been able to hedge hard and get back.
The youngster Steve Bastoria has scored all of Notre Dame's points in the overtime. All 7.
Kid's got chops.
Robinson driving hard, denied, and another whistle. He'll be to the line. James Robinson.
He grabbed his right knee on that fall.
Zach August with his third.
Little screen and roll. Nice job by Young not to commit a foul.
Robinson fired up a couple of air balls during regulation, and the student section has not let him forget it. And at the line, very coolly knocks in the first foul shot.
He's a guy who has made a high percentage of his free throws.
Number 2 for Robinson. Got the pair. He hits 81%. And so it's Pitt on top again, 74-72. Atkins, very quick, gave it up though.
Arizona just hedges and changes the angle of the guy trying to come off that screen. Doesn't show up in a stat sheet, but he's had a huge impact.
Atkins had not turned it over for the previous 3 games. He's turned it over 3 times today. Under a minute now in overtime. Patterson. Oh, what a great give in the stuff by Zana.
How about that pass by Pat? Do you see what I mean about tight spaces and their ability to complete passes? It's extraordinary.
His 7th assist, Vasturia. Yeah! A 3-pointer. And a timeout, Notre Dame.
This kid, it's like he wants the ball to find him in these moments. Yes, sir. Barely a smile, Mr. Vasturia.
The baby-face shooter.
Oh, at one point he was 1 for 5. In big moments he was missing shots. Did he put his head down? No.
How about this pass?
Oh, come on now. And there was no way he was giving this ball up. Little inside-out move, draws Sherman up, and the wraparound pass. And then on the opposite end, Young goes into the paint to give some assistance, does not stay attached to a guy who has embraced the spotlight in the big moments down the stretch. What a fun game.
76-75, Pittsburgh by 1. And another official review here as they've gone to the monitor. They've done that frequently today, but I thought the officiating crews had a very good afternoon here. Now, once again, they're going to double check on the footwork, but there's no question that's a 3.
The last one was a heck of a lot closer.
38.1 remaining in the overtime, at least in the first overtime.
Yeah, and obviously you wonder, do they put Newkirk back into the basketball game as the extra ball handler, or are they going to just stand pat with the rotation they have? It's not as though they're under time pressure, which is why Newkirk came in. So my sense is they might sit tight with the rotation they had.
Patterson in overtime. You know the ball is going to find its way into his hands.
Now, this is their 5th-year senior. Just tries to get Atkins committed. Nice little up fake, doesn't sell. He has been around multiple gold jerseys because I think the Irish have done a pretty good job of sinking into the paint and gapping a Pittsburgh team that has struggled shooting it. But their ability to operate and not get sped up in tight spaces is extraordinary. Now, listen, you know, if you're the Irish, you're sitting here saying, there's only 3 seconds. If Pittsburgh takes this all the way down, we're only going to get the ball back with 3 seconds, even if our defense makes a stand. So to me, Dave, you're going to give your defense a chance at 1 or 2 plays, maybe a quick trap and a cheat up into a passing lane. Otherwise, you're going to try to funnel the ball to the worst foul shooter and then try to foul them and put them on the line.
Each side with 1 timeout remaining. Notre Dame has the possession arrow.
And it looks like they're going to come up in full court pressure here and try to make some things happen. Burgett looks like he is going to be on the ball, the inbounder.
Illinois, Michigan State currently airing on ESPN3. That'll be up next.
And you see Sherman is out of the ball game, so you've got a small, fast Irish lineup on the floor.
Patterson to try and get it in. He can move on that baseline.
They're going to get a foul.
They're going to get a foul even before he inbounded it. And that'll go against V.J. Beacham. That'll be his first. So they reset the clock back to 38.1. It'll be Robinson to the line. one of the Panthers' very best foul shooters. Although still hearing the air ball from the Notre Dame student section. But he's been clutch at the line.
It's a big one because it makes it 2 possession. And again, if he makes this soft pressure, if you're Pittsburgh, keep everything in front.
Hit by 3.
And substitution, you go smaller. Michael Young is out. Your faster defensive guard, Newkirk, in right now. And he will be the one making sure Atkins has got to use some time here. Excuse me, that was made it a 1 possession, but you make the Irish make a 3, excuse me.
Atkins trying to penetrate. Leans in and draws the foul.
Wow, and you didn't need the 3, so that's a good move. It's fine. There's still plenty of time here.
And they have shot their free throws very well throughout the afternoon. It'll be Atkins to the line. Newkirk fouls him.
Well, you got the floor space. You got a one-on-one matchup, and this is why Newkirk was in, because if that were Michael Young, it would have been even more difficult defensively.
78-76.
Same thing, make or miss here. You might give your defense one opportunity for a trap steal. Otherwise, you're going to foul. And somebody, preferably, other than Robinson.
Missed on the second. And another whistle. Foul here against Notre Dame with 25.2 to go in the overtime.
That one hurts. Because if he makes 2 now, it becomes a 2-possession game.
You saw Eric Atkins missing the second end. He's played every second of the game. He might be the one guy in America, you don't say that's because he's weary, because he plays a ton of minutes.
Yeah, wow, Patterson leaves the door open here.
25.2. Here comes the second one for Lamar Patterson. Got that. So back up to 3, 79-76.
And again, Young out, Newkirk in.
Are you looking for the 3-pointer here?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you could go again for 2, but if I get a clean look at 3 the way I shoot it, I'm going for a 3.
18 seconds to go. Atkins looking for a shooter now, drives it. The kick. Burgett too strong and a whistle. Oh, he's shoved while shooting a 3-pointer. He was shoved by Lamar Patterson. With 12.1 seconds, Notre Dame will be at the line to shoot 3.
Wow, your 5th-year senior. The only thing that could hurt you was a 3. So why you pinch in here? And we saw Patterson do this against Circus. Remember the slow closeout on C.J. Fair? A mistake you don't expect to see from Patterson.
Burgett makes the first one, the sophomore from Avon, Indiana, who underwent that outpatient cardiac procedure to correct an irregular heartbeat back in January. Number 2 drills that.
Wow, big time.
One more to tie it with 12.1 on the clock in overtime. And rolls that one off. So it's Pitt by 1, and the foul stops the clock with 10.8 remaining. Burgett making 2 of 3. And back to the other end now for Pittsburgh.
Some pressure on Zana. Hovering at 64% in conference, 63 overall.
And we made a couple of big foul shots at the tail end of the Syracuse defeat. On the line again. Makes the first all net.
Wow, that form makes it look like he should be better than 60%. Gotta have this one too now. I'd give him a chance to beat you with a 3.
Notre Dame has a timeout left. Pitt has 1 remaining. Makes them both very slick. 81-78. Notre Dame and a timeout. Zana was 17. Big double-double for him this afternoon. Pittsburgh trying to survive and escape with a victory, which would be their 10th in the ACC, their 22nd overall.
Well, and again, Atkins has done a good job on the last 2 possessions. 1 of advancing the ball, and 2 of getting either to the rim for himself or in the last instance, getting by and then making the pitch. And I would expect a similar type play.
Now here's the end of regulation. Beecham hit that 3-pointer to tie the ball game. The 6'8" freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, clutch here. That tied the ball game. Now Pitt had an opportunity with 2.8 seconds to win it, and right at that point, that was the Robinson shot that did not go. Before that, of course, the very controversial timeout that Jamie Dixon called for while Lamar Patterson, that was the previous possession, was driving to the basket and appeared to have a lane to score.
Well, had an angle and had a step. Had both of those things, an angle and a step on the defender to get to the rim, and was in position, quite frankly, to score in an N1. Yeah, so now you're going right back to Atkins, who is your senior at home for the final day of his career here in the Joyce Center.
Notre Dame has shot the 3 particularly well today, 12 out of 23.
Pittsburgh making sure their matchups are on point. And you have got to make the ball handler, I think, change direction twice here. You'd like that ball handler to catch it below the free throw line and make them change direction.
It's Eric Atkins now. Atkins off to Vestoria, and a reach and a foul on the play. That foul will go against Robinson. So they choose to foul and put Vestoria at the line.
Yep, and why not? You've dominated the backboards. You've absolutely dominated the backboards.
So the freshman at the line with 5.5 and hits the first one.
The key when you execute that play is when you foul and you make sure that it's nowhere near the gather and upward motion of the shooter. You make sure that foul comes before that.
Another big rebounder getting in, Tom Knight.
That's correct. You come back with August and Knight to give you your best chance for a rebound or a tip back.
81-79 Pittsburgh. Got that one. Looked like he was trying to miss it.
Exactly.
Made it anyway. Maybe he's going a little too good. 81-80. Inbounded in a bobble there, but a whistle as well.
Dangerous pass.
A foul on the play with 4.8 to go.
This game's had just about everything down the stretch.
That brought some howls from the Notre Dame faithful. We'll take another look.
I didn't think he had possession. Lamar Patterson has got to put it on the deck.
Close. Young will be at the line then. He is an 81% foul shooter. Pittsburgh with a 1-point lead. He's got 2 shots. 82-80.
It just didn't look to me like he had possession of that ball ever. So.
Number 2 coming from Michael Young.
Yeah, Pittsburgh sending everybody back off the free throw line.
Young hits that. Pittsburgh with a 3-point advantage. So coming down to this, 4.8 seconds in the overtime. Inbounded for Atkins. Patterson chasing him. They get a whistle before the shot. And a foul.
I don't think he was trying to commit the foul. He just had his left arm hooked. And that's why the officials blew the whistle. But I'll be honest with you. The last possession, Pittsburgh was trying to foul. That possession, I did not think they were.
2.8 seconds. Atkins at the line. 68% foul shooter. The senior on senior day drops that one in.
So here come the rebounders. He's going to try to put it hard off the back iron, not off the window. If you can put it off the back iron, it gives Knight and August a chance for a back tap.
Atkins second. He missed that on purpose. Rebounded away by Pitt, and Patterson gets the foul. Foul against Notre Dame at 2.3. So a chance to put this one away here. And Lamar Patterson, who wanted desperately to shoot the ball in the final seconds of regulation, but was denied that chance because of that timeout called by Jamie Dixon. And effectively sought this game away right here. Pittsburgh looking to escape South Bend with a victory. Makes the first. So now 3-point differential. Patterson, very good foul shooter, 77%. And another one coming with 2.3 seconds to play. Notre Dame with no timeouts remaining. And he hits that one as well. Clutch at the line. 85-81. Atkins there. They'll stay completely away from him. Misses at the buzzer, and Pitt wins it 85-81 in overtime.
Wow, it's another close game for Jamie Dixon. This time they make enough plays to win it.
They won this one. They eke it out in the end. Final score 85-81. For my partner Doris Burke, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks so much for joining us here this afternoon. Turned out to be a dandy at South Bend. Right now, let's send it out to Bob Wischusen and Dan Dockich in the Big Ten.